Joe Holka, you in a better mood today or what?
I'm in a fine mood. Why is everyone upset with me being like mad last night in the tilt space? You're like the third person that said that.
Oh my God. Everyone kept saying you were so salty, man.
Music you have to get me back in a good mood, man. That is a jam.
What's that? Oh, the music?
Yeah. Do you not hear that before this starts?
No, yeah, the music that I play, yeah, I hear it. Man, I've been drinking too much wine today because I feel like my teeth are already getting pretty red.
Hey, that's the problem, man. Like your quality goes up. Like you get one of these DSL cameras, people are gonna be making fun of you for zits and stuff you don't even know you have. It's the worst.
Dude, well, I have. Where is it? There's one right here. Someone see that? Look at how tilting that is, Joe.
You're still in brio mode, man. We'll get you over the DSLR streets, man.
No, what was your thoughts on? Did you see the Washington-Seattle game? The camera footage they had on the side?
I didn't look at it. Should I look at it?
Yeah, you need to check it out. It looked like video game / watching a Joe Holka stream. That's how high quality it was.
There's no one here like that wants actual like showdown info, right? Like, was this anyone in the stream right now?
Yeah, no. Let's get to it. This is a Showdown Cram. Joe Holka and I, Mondays and Thursdays, although not this Thursday because we don't have a Thursday game. We're going to figure that out. Maybe we'll do something on Saturday. We'll figure it out. But we cram here about 20 to 25 minutes, letting you know what we're thinking for the slate, what we're playing. We've run our lineups. Go for WSU says, listen, Pete, I'm here for you to say it's okay to go to Steelers DST in the captain spot. Look, this is what I'll tell you. I am very aggressive with getting rid of duplicates. And some of the most duplicated lineups to me tonight are all Steelers captain lineups, Joe. I think that is not the way to go if you're trying to be unique in large field stuff.
Yeah, I mean, how easy is it to just say that you want to play the Pittsburgh defense and captain? There's going to be enough people that are going to see this spread. They're going to see this game in general and just feel like they're going to run away with it. Like I guarantee you Osmo is going to roll out his double defense thing today. I don't want to do that. I think that I'm probably light on kickers and defenses as a whole, usually playing 3 max stuff most often. So I never really considered it, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe that's bad, but
well, just think about it like this. So I have ETR's projections up, and they are projected as the 8th highest points, just raw points for a captain slot, and they're going to project for the highest owned captain. Means there's literally 7 other position players that are projected to score more points from them. Why are we jamming them into the captain? Like, I get that the price is nice, but I don't think the ceiling is ultimately there because we're banking on random outcome events. We need a touchdown. And can it happen, Joe? Will we get buried? Sure. But over the long term, we have to trust the process, right?
Man, that's going to be so rough when on like the first play of this game they just run one back for a pick 6. Like my night's probably gonna be over. I might end up with like maybe a piece, but not captain. Having considered that.
Yeah, as Chris says, please do not dupe me, bro. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned and I have made some lineups with an optimizer. I made one of the grossest lineups I have ever seen in my life, Joe. If you guys want to know why you shouldn't listen to anything I say, one of the 1,500 lineups I made had Austin Seibert and 3 Bengals running backs in it. That's the kind of shit I'm doing to win one of these large field tournaments. I don't think it actually ended up in my run, but the big tournament tonight, the $3.20 max, is 148,000 people, Joe. I might have to roster 3 running backs to win this.
Why you play those, dude? It sounds terrible. Like I don't want to build teams like that. I want to sit here with my 3 lineups and just know that I still am going against other people that are building 3 or less lineups in these small fields, man. I don't know why do you randomly do this for Showdown? I don't understand.
Because I'm a nit. And this is my thing. I don't think Showdown is a good single entry or 3 max sweat. Too much
disagrees.
Too much changes on every single play. And look, let's go to the James Washington whisperer himself. I mean, we're back. I want to play Chase Claypool. I think Chase Claypool is the best, most talented wide receiver on the Steelers, and he's like 4th in snaps. Are we going back to the James Washington well tonight?
That's what I was going to ask you, Pete. Like, who would you even consider like the number 3 wide receiver on this team? It's got to be Claypool, right? Just based on the snaps alone. Like, Washington, is he eating enough into that to where like neither one of them are like a great play at their salary? I don't know. I love Claypool. I'm with you. I was hoping you'd talk me out of it. He was kind of the guy. Like, I do have a Claypool captain right now. I don't know how unique that's going to be. I think most people are going to be on Deontay, right?
Yeah, well, you asked if is he the third acting like that was bad. He's technically the fourth wide receiver right now. James Washington is running more snaps than him. He's getting more routes per drop back. It is not good for Chase Claypool. I still think he has the most upside, but he is not. Maybe I need to walk that back. At this kind of snap and target share, he doesn't have the most upside, even though I want him to, Joe.
I think that there's an argument for going back to Claypool here because like he was kind of living off of touchdowns for a little bit and he like hasn't been doing that recently, right? So maybe this is a spot like his ADOT is still there. Like when he's out there, he's still getting valuable usage overall. But I mean, you could say the same thing about James Washington, like 12.4 ADOT, 28% air yard share. I mean, he's a guy that has been a factor, believe it or not, like dating back to that slate we were just kind of referring to. But I think the projection's pretty close between those guys. Like there's really no one that's going to go Washington at captain, right? I guess looking at salaries, maybe, but it's still going to be basically, I don't know. Are people scared of Deontay after he dropped all those passes last week? I feel like that's a decent spot too.
Yeah, I mean, looking at captain ownership, like we mentioned, the Steelers D are going to be popular. And then I think it's going to be Deontay, Juju, and Ben Roethlisberger, who are the safest to project of the Steelers. Obviously, we have James Conner out tonight, which means Benny Snell is going to be their main running back. But let's normally we talk a little bit about overall construction before we get too into the weeds here. When I initially ran the optimals, I had never seen so many 5-1s. Normally 5-1s are a little bit of a contrarian build, but we have, a 2-touchdown favorite. We have just an absolutely atrocious 40-point over under here, which is naturally going to funnel us to 5-1s on the Steelers side. Normally 5-1s provide some leverage because people like to build balance. But tonight, when the hand builders get going in here, they're going to realize, man, I want to just keep jamming in Steelers. So I've kind of swung back, and I think 3-3s, maybe even 4-2s are going to be the way to help you get unique here if people are just jamming Steelers.
I still think that like the 5-1, it's like not many people do that when it's all said and done, right? Is this like a completely different slate than we've talked about so far, where people are just going to like continue to play these guys because they're popping as values? Like I feel like the comfortable one is almost always going to be like the 4-2 or the 3-3, right? Is this totally different?
I think it is different. I think we're in unique territory here with the pricing and how big of projected faves these guys are. And when you look at the Bengals right now, like put yourself in the mind of a hand builder, Joe. Like who feels good to click on the Bengals tonight?
It's true. There's really not a lot of them, right? If you wanted to get like super in the weeds with some of these like other like running backs, like these kind of super thin running back. I mean, I think there's people that probably aren't going to want to go back to Gio after what happened, right? But yeah, like none of these guys feel great. Like the safest guy is probably Tyler Boyd, but yeah, I mean, even at that point, like it doesn't feel great.
The film grinders tell me that Tyler Boyd has the better matchup for the Steelers wide receivers in the slot. I guess over the middle is where you have been beating the Steelers this year. T. Higgins and AJ Green, again, my age bias always leads me to AJ Green, away from AJ Green to T. Higgins. They've had very similar opportunity, but when you look at the efficiency that T. Higgins has had, it just blows AJ Green out of the water, but they keep forcing the issue. He keeps getting targets at a similar clip. So, I mean, when you look at ownership, T. Higgins is going to be owned way more than AJ Green. He's more expensive. So, even me, a noted old hater, I think pivoting from Higgins to AJ Green has some merit. But that said, none of these Bengals are going to be popular. So I think if you're using a one-off T. Higgins, you could be entering chalky territory. But if you're playing two Bengals already, I think you're pushing toward being unique.
That's interesting. I heard someone mention this about projections earlier this week, that like sometimes like we just get like so involved in the volume at all these positions, but then there's like a guy like Tony Pollard who you can give a little bit of efficiency bump versus someone like Zeke Elliott. So like, do you think the same is at wide receiver? Like AJ Green's like median projection has a little bit more to do with like how inefficient he's been overall, even though the volume is there, that we like chase, like volume chasers like you and I, we kind of fall into that AJ Green trap at times, but T. Higgins is like far and away the more valuable one. I don't know. I'm kind of working through that one in my head still.
Yeah, it's tough to know. I mean, the Bengals in neutral game scripts, they want to run the ball, but then they do obviously increase their pass frequency once they are down. Obviously, this projects as a game where they're going to be down tonight. And I think using two Bengals pass catchers not only does that line up to an intuitive game script, but it's going to probably be pretty unique. And I think you can go and pick one of Higgins and Boyd, and then maybe pick one of Green or Drew Sample as the tight end down there in a negative game script. I think that could work out. I mean, one play that no one's really talking about that the game script actually sets up for is Benny Snell, right? Where the Steelers have been super pass heavy, like even in winning game scripts. But if this is an absolute rout and you can beat the Bengals however you want, the Steelers might just say, like, let's give Benny Snell 20 touches and get out of here with an easy win. And so if everyone's funneling to Roethlisberger and the pass catchers, maybe Snell is a little more sneaky than I might realize.
That's one where the defense obviously makes sense as well. Like a couple of these guys, like you look at the Steelers pass catchers, and obviously I'm a little bit more in the weeds with different correlation stuff, only building 1 to 3 teams. But you look at Benny Snell and even Connor to some degree, like they don't correlate really well with any of the other pass catchers for Pittsburgh. So I think that's interesting. The defense is really the only thing up there. The kicker is at least reasonable. But the thing that's kind of interesting is like some of these other cheap Pittsburgh running backs are still projecting relatively well, just based on like the $200 salary for McFarland, the $800 salary for Jalen Samuel. So you think those guys are going to be pretty popular punts on this slate? Like, I mean, even at like 5 points that you can project like Jalen Samuels for, basically, like it's still popping for decent amount of value for sure.
I'm just laughing because, I wanted to see how much Travion Williams I ended up with. The chat started talking about them. You mentioned, affordable price tag. I was like tabbing it because the way I do this is I build all of my lineups and I'm making lineups specific for big contests, smaller contests. So I upload, my stuff to DraftKings, and then I can go look at my specific exposure. So I go over to look and I think, okay, I'll probably have like 15% Travion Williams. Joe, I have 53% Travion Williams right now.
How's that feel, man?
It feels great.
Feels right.
Feels great. If we just trust the math, we don't ever actually have to have a take, right? We could just say the math gave me 53% Travion Williams.
Yeah, you should get yourself an optimizer that doesn't even put the names in there, man. You got to get away from your biases a little bit, I think.
I will say in general how I build too, where I like to force some of the constructions, and I like to force them on both sides. So like if I'm running 5-1s, I'm running some that are Bengals 5-1s as well. If I'm running 4-2s, I'm running four Bengals as well. So that's kind of how I try to get unique sometimes. So I'll have a lot of lineups tonight that are 4 Bengals with 2 Steelers. And you can tell yourself stories of how that gets there, right? Where it's like the defense doesn't get there. They get a lead, and then the Bengals have some success in garbage time in the second half. Like, I don't think that's too crazy.
I don't think that's crazy. I always try and I fall into the trap of then what do I do with the kickers? Because if you're playing the defense, like the kickers in general, like the correlation seems like it's at least reasonable. Same thing with these cheap running backs. So the kickers, where do you think the ownership falls on these guys overall? I very rarely play them, but in some 5-1 builds, I think it would make sense.
Yeah, so the kickers, it looks like, about their usual, Boswell coming in at about 21%. I'm looking at ETRs here, and Austin Seibert, 13% ownership. I'm seeing in the optimals, about similar, actually getting 21% Boswell, 20% Seibert. Do we have a ruling there? So I do think in these lower scoring games, it makes sense that those kickers are popping as more viable options.
I could see that for sure. Man, Claypool just does not build very nice teams right now. I'm just not enjoying my Claypool team so far, but I also don't probably have as much Travion Williams as you have. So maybe that's my problem.
Well, the other thing that was interesting to me about Claypool is I'm a little confused if he actually is kind of a contrarian pivot. Like if you were just looking at the underlying metrics and volume,
Washington's lower,
right? And that's what I was looking at. Roto Grinders ownership, and they had Claypool as a top 5 owned captain. And so then I'm like, okay, well, if Claypool's not sneaky, and he's 4th in snaps on his own team, maybe I can't do it.
Any word if there's anyone during the pregame warmups ran up to someone and said that they should not be sat? Because that just buried me on the last Showdown slate. Literally, 2 of my 3 captains after that, literally just locked them. Just
that That killed me too in some season-long spots. We're in the FFPC main event with a top 10 team, a shot at 500,000. Keenan Allen looks me in the eye and just lies to me. Keenan Allen lied to me, Joe.
Pete, you know the team we built on my stream on Thursday went 3x, right?
Of course, dude. All we do on this show is just give out stone cold locks. We build you winners, Eric Tomlinson, et cetera, et cetera. That's just what we do.
How'd our tilt space teams do last night?
You know what? We never got an update from Leone on that.
Maybe he just forgot. We should probably never mention it again. He probably didn't even put it on the spreadsheet. We might get a free roll there from Leone.
Yeah, I don't know if he would have won more in the live final, he would have allowed the free roll, but probably not there. Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got in the chat? Jeffrey tossing out Ray, the play. Ray McLeod, the third, messing up my spreadsheet because I had to add the third in there to get everything to pull correctly. I have 3% of him. I don't hate it. Do you have any Ray McLeod takes, Joe?
Absolutely not. No, I have 0. Who is that? Oh, he's a $200 wide receiver. No, I have 0.
Yeah, I wish I had the special for you tonight, the Eric Tomlinson special that fails, and then you guys, harass me about it for the next day. Unfortunately, I do not have one of those tonight. This is a slate where I'm getting unique more so on construction, I think, than the one-off plays. I think that happens on these slates where everyone is funneling to a specific type of construction. Whereas when we have a ton of good plays, then it's just okay, let's hope for the random guy that can get a touchdown. And let's just do our normal caveat here, Joe. I am playing in some of these contests to win with 150,000 people. Joe is playing in some contests with 400 people. So I might be talking about Ray McLeod, but Joe probably isn't. So remember, this is contest size specific. Hopefully you guys can read between the lines. If you have a specific question, let us know, but just need to let you guys know where we're coming from here.
Yeah, just in general too, to preface that, I'm playing all small fields, but I still throw these teams in the lottery tickets. I threw it in the 180 here and there just because I'm a sick fish and I can't see that 100K ceiling and not have these lineups in those type of things. So in general, trying to keep it to 500 and below people. But yeah, I do throw it in some other stuff here and there.
So this is a good question. Jalen Samuels, he played 47% of the snaps and had 8 touches, but that was in a negative game script. Jalen Samuels is the pass catching back. He will not be on the field if they are winning. Sure, maybe he'll get in on a 2-minute hurry up offense kind of scenario, but Samuels, you need the Bengals to be leading for the Samuels play to hit. But if you're playing the lottos with me, brother, I don't mind telling yourself a story that the Bengals get an early lead and Jalen Samuels plays 50% of the snaps.
Samuels is probably not a guy you're adding to teams with these pass catchers for Pittsburgh, right? If you say you have a wide receiver captain, whatever, pick your poison with the Pittsburgh guys. Samuels probably directly negatively correlates with those guys' upside, right? Because if he gets there and Ben throws a touchdown pass to him, number one, the game script doesn't make sense, but number two, he probably takes away from one of the other pass catchers, right?
Yeah, no, I think that works. And I think, again, going back to a logical game script that probably won't be too high owned is to play the running game for the Steelers with a couple pass catchers coming back from the Bengals. I think that makes a lot of sense. But we got Nick. We want to know, what does Joe's girlfriend think about tonight's slate? Does she have a take?
Man, she only plays the Vikings games or the fun games, right? So she played Pittsburgh and Buffalo, but she doesn't know anything about Cincinnati. So she wasn't interested. I tried to get her to make a team with me and give me the answers to the test like she normally does, and she just wasn't interested today. So maybe I just should stop. Maybe I should just unregister. Maybe that's the play.
I think it is.
I'll give her. Should I give her a pick one of these 5 names right now? Give me 5 names.
Yeah. Text her. While you're doing that, I will answer Matt's question here. What's Ebron's ownership? I think you're on to something here, Matt, because the 3 and maybe even 4 wide receivers are going to be more popular than Eric Ebron. I do think Ebron will be a little higher owned than James Washington, but I think he's going to come in only around, probably 30% in the flex. He won't be too popular as a captain. But I think it's a nice leverage spot off of the Ebron, off of the Deontay Johnson and off of the Juju Smith-Schuster Steelers chalk. So I think that's a good way to differentiate with Ebron there. And we've seen these games where I think the Steelers pass catching group is like a good group in general to fade the certainty, because Big Ben will spread it around. And so if everyone is condensing on Deontay and Juju, let's sprinkle in Claypool, let's sprinkle in Washington, and let's sprinkle in Ebron. I think that's a very sharp way to go here.
Yeah, so I went pick 2 for us, and I went Juju, Claypool, Washington, Deontay, Ebron, and Snell. We'll see if we can get 2 of those guys, like the main Pittsburgh guys. I think then we're just all in.
How can I fade the slate when I've been chasing for 15 weeks? Here's the thing, what I would say. We still have a lot of showdown slates to go. So just make sure your bankroll management is locked in, because you're going to want to be firing at these playoff showdown slates. Joe Holka and I will be here. We will figure out our schedule for the playoffs, but we're having too much fun doing these showdown things. Joe, the people love showdown. They love it so much.
They love it. That's for sure. The playoff slates are going to be pretty huge too. In general, like I'm a big proponent of the playoff slates, but I am definitely going to be firing more at showdown in the playoffs this year than I have before. So apparently the answers to the test at the wide receiver, or I guess at the Pittsburgh side of the ball anyway, is Juju and Deontay. No Claypool or Washington love for Andrea tonight. So take that for what it's worth.
So Andrea, do you need to get her a vaccine for her chalkitis?
Well, first off, she answered the fuck ? Is what she answered my original question with. So maybe she's giving us the opposite because she's upset.
Yeah. So Kyle, real quick note about that. That is kind of a do as I say, not as I do thing. We were fortunate enough to have a really nice bink early on in the season, and our bankroll management is slipping right now. There is no reason we should have wasted $360 last night like we did, but we did it for the stream equity, for the entertainment equity. So unless you can go on Periscope and entertainingly lose $360, I don't think your accountant is going to appreciate that line item on your taxes this year. So you got to figure out a way to justify it. Okay, here. Yes, Drew Cooper says the dynamic duo of NFL DFS, salt and pepper, right here, right, Joe?
If you do enough shows, you I think by default become the dynamic duo, right?
That's right. Any other final takes? The goal here is to get in, get out. You guys got 20 minutes to make your lineups. Let's see here. Can we burn any flex spots tonight? Do you have any takes on the man who won $2.5 million burning his flex spots, Joe? Because the people know you were salty. They want to know if you've processed it.
I'm not salty. You guys get a fucking donkey.
That sounds like salt.
Yeah, it's a little salty.
You're so salt. Thank you, Yankees. Hit the like and subscribe.
You only berate people to do that when it's not on your channel. What's that all about?
I know.
You got to ask the people. You got to tell them what to do. Just be like, hey, you like what you hear?
Yeah. Hey.
Also like on this video. Let me know in the comments. All the things, man.
All right. I will plug. Joe, I don't know if you saw, I'm doing another stream tonight.
I saw that. A basketball stream. What the hell's that all about?
I'm just going to become a basketball thought leader. I am in a draft tonight with CSU Ram 88, Justin Fan. He is not going to be on the stream, so I don't want to overpromise. But Adam Schefter is in this best ball draft. He loves underdog fantasy. He is playing in this draft. And so, yeah, I'm going to come in. I'm going to be Adam Schefter in a best ball draft. We'll go live at 10:15 p.m. Eastern. Scott Bloomstein, World Series of Poker champ. He's going to be there. Some other guys from Fantasy Lab. So should be a good time if you guys want to tune in at 10:15 p.m. Eastern and make fun of me for how little I know about NBA basketball. Joe, after 2 rounds, I'm not going to recognize any names.
Dude, that would be so hard. I don't even know what I would do. I mean, you go by the projections, but how do you even get weird with basketball, man? I haven't attempted to play like NBA DFS in probably over a year. But before that, like I didn't lose any slates, which is good because that's normal with NBA. So anyone that's never played NBA DFS before, it's the absolute nuts because no one loses. It's the best.
See, this is what I love about you guys here. You guys are my hype man for me. I have too much pride sometimes to beg and plead for likes and subscribers. And then you guys in the chat just do it for me. And it makes it so easy. And I will say, Joe, I teased this on my Bankroll Challenge stream. I'm doing a giveaway. I'm going to put out a video tomorrow. And this is what I'm doing, Joe. For every 200 subs that I gain after I release that video tomorrow, I'm going to free roll someone in the SPY.
Oh, baby.
So that could really backfire on me. If it
I like the aggressiveness for sure out of you. Pete, like I know that this whole like YouTube thing, like you don't care about being GTO in some ways, but we have to be able to put lineup builder somewhere in your description or whatever it is. So should we build a quick lineup so that you're not completely lying to YouTube? They don't like that, man.
Yeah, let's build a lineup here to wrap up. But I get the super chat coming from Kyle here. He asked, how much of a season long would you hedge using showdowns? I.e., if you had a team leading a 200K contest, what would you play in DFS to hedge?
Interesting.
Man, that is a really interesting question. I don't think it's as clean as you'd like it to be. Depending on the contest you're playing, you really have to be perfect with these. So like I'm in a spot like that in our main event where I have Chase Claypool, and it did cross my mind, like you don't need to be as heavy on Chase Claypool in Showdown because you got him in this big spot here. So I would maybe find other ways to hedge. Maybe I'm looking at a prop line and I'm betting the under there in a more kind of clean hedge. Don't you think it's too complicated to hedge a single player across the Showdown lineup?
Probably, because like I don't know how you would be like all in on a guy really if like it was going to be like one of the more popular guys on the slate. I like the thought process of doing that. I think hedging in different types of games is really sharp actually. Like there's times where like if you have like we'll run into it on the playoff slates. If you get off to like a really hot start on a team that's like game one of the 4 games in the playoff slate, maybe you play Showdown on one of those games as well and hedge it out a little bit on the other side. So I think that's really sharp.
Yeah, I definitely think you're on the right track, though, of thinking about that stuff. I know Leone and Holka, some of their lineups they had yesterday, thinking about where can I hedge those positions, because so much of this money is top heavy that you want to get paid off a little bit for your good work. So let's build a lineup here as Joe suggested. Let me get the screen pulled up and then we will build this bad boy here, Joe. I'm putting this one in the millionaire. So we're going to have to get a little funky with this one. All right.
Do we go like Cincinnati side of it if we're going in Millie here?
Yes, of course. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have to go Cincinnati captain.
Okay.
I would say. I will give you the honors here on the first pick.
Well, I'm going to let you take the captain, but I think that if we wanted to just start off with something that gives us a little bit of leverage, like do we want to go with one of these like running backs on the Cincinnati side? Like how like contrarian is Gio going to be in this spot?
Let me look here. Let me get inside the mind of a hand builder here. I think Gio is going to be, as far as ownership of the running backs, I think he's going to be right there with Snell. It looks like.
So maybe we just go with one of the cheap ones and give us some flexibility then. Pick your poison between Samaje and Travion.
Well, my take. I have 53% Travion, so might as well keep letting it ride.
All right, Travion works.
Can't even spell his name. There we go. All right, your pick.
I thought I picked Travion.
I thought I did. Okay. I thought I was bullying you into picking the guy I wanted.
No, you didn't bully. I wanted one of the running backs from Cincinnati. We just talked it out.
Okay.
You can take the next one.
All right, so I'm going to take the next one. I am going to get a Bengals wide receiver in here. I am going to just take the lower owned of Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. It looks like that is going to be T. Higgins. He's also cheaper, so let's put T in here.
Okay, interesting. Man, like I don't really know exactly like with the rest of these wide receivers there. Can you like who does T. Higgins like directly negative correlate with? It's not even Boyd, right? It's probably one of those other guys.
I think most with AJ Green would be his big negative correlation.
Okay. Well, one of the ones that let's go Boyd then.
Okay, so we're gonna onslaught. We're
going heavy Cincy with this team.
Yeah. So you tell me, Val. You say we're gonna be duped. Hold my beer. We will not allow ourselves to be duped here.
You think we're gonna be duped? Yeah. Hold my beer, buddy.
That's right. It is a high T pick. No low T Higgins picks on this team. I do think we can go Steelers captain here. I think we can kind of pick who do we want here. I think literally anyone in this construction that's not Steelers D is viable.
What do you think about doing like a Benny Snell captain and then just load up on pass catchers on Cincy?
Yeah, I love it.
It's hot.
I absolutely love it. Don't dupe us, bros. Don't dupe us. We have 12-5 here. We are going to need one more kind of cheaper option. What if we get Ebron in here as well, Joe? We talked about him of kind of flying under the radar.
I like the Ebron call.
So we get Ebron in. So basically we're telling ourselves a story here of Snell and Ebron get the touchdowns. No defensive touchdowns. The Bengals are playing garbage time. Travion's working in. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. We have 17-9. We can play whoever we want here.
We just play Finley?
That's what I was going to say. We're probably playing Finley or Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think we go Finley here. The one thing that is notable, and I love the Ebron call. Like I kind of was concerned that like the running back one would be like a pretty heavy negative correlation for Ebron. It's not really. In 11 games with James Conner, it's a 0.36. It's actually one of his best. So I kind of like this.
I think you guys are full of shit. You guys have a Benny Snell captain lineup that
9K on the table.
9K on the table with a Bengals onslaught. You guys are full of shit. Do not dupe me. If you're duping us, it's because you watched this show. It's not because you had it in beforehand. All right, I'm entering that. Joe and I are going to split $1 million later tonight. We'll go live on stream to celebrate. We appreciate you guys coming on. It's the Showdown Cram. 30 minutes, get in, get out. Like I said, we're going to figure out our schedule for later in the week. We will not be here on Christmas. We will maybe figure something out for Saturday. We have a 3-game slate. Maybe we do a 3-game thing, Joe. Maybe we do a bigger showdown. We'll figure it out.
We'll see how it goes. See how it goes.
Guys, if for some reason you are here but not following Joe, I got his YouTube link down below, cranking out videos all week. We got line movement. If you didn't see Tilt Space last night, go back. It's a fun watch. You get to see Joe be salty AF.
You always make fun of me for not being drunk enough on that show. Was I drunk enough? Chat, let me know in the comments on the Tilt Space one.
I don't know if you're going to like what you hear. I mean, Joe, you're too stoic. You're too stoic.
I told you, look at my eyes. That's how you can tell how drunk I am, not by what comes out of my mouth. Some of us hold it together a little better than you, Pete.
I say, look at my teeth. And if you see that it has a red, dent on it or whatever word I'm looking for. All right. Good luck tonight, guys. Ryan Finley, onslaughts, FTW, Travion Williams, heavy exposure. Joe Holka, any final words?
I should probably go build lineups since I've got probably too much action and we're talking about dumb things. So yeah, I'm in. I think that's pretty much it. We gave them the goods. Let them go build their lineups, Pete.
Go build your lineups. We'll see you guys at 10:15. I will become an NBA thought leader here in about 2 hours. Peace out.